Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Detective Jose Esteves, and I would like to welcome you to Staten Island Remembers Memorial Ceremony, remembering those who have fallen and honoring those who are currently serving. To begin the ceremony, please rise for the presentation of the colors and the singing of our national anthem by Police Officer Deneen Lopez.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched when so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Officers. Please remain standing for the invocation by NYPD Assistant Chief Chaplain Monsignor Robert J. Romano.
First of all, I want to say thanks to God for allowing the Border Patrol to let me in from the borough on the other side of the bridge. And I love coming to Staten Island because Staten Islanders love the police department. So I'm honored to be here and glad to be here as well. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks as we come together to celebrate with the borough of Staten Island, as we remember our fallen heroes and honor those who protect our streets day in and day out. As we gather here, we pray for all the members of the New York City Police Department that they might be safe on and off duty. And as we gather here today also, we remember in a special way the motto of the New York City Police Department, to never forget those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. As we gather here today, we are mindful of the fact that we are Americans, and as Americans we can come together and do what we want to do when we want to do it. And Lord, we ask you in a very special way to watch over the men and women of our armed forces who serve us so proudly, many of whom are members of the NYPD. Watch over them and bring them home soon. Finally, Lord, we ask your blessing upon all those who have come here together today to show their support for the men and women in blue. May God bless the borough of Staten Island. May God bless the NYPD. And as always, may God bless the United States of America. Amen.
It is indeed now my pleasure to introduce the members seated in our dais. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. NYPD Chaplain Bishop Victor Brown, NYPD Chaplain Assistant Chief Monsignor Robert J. Romano, Commanding Officer 123rd Precinct Captain Kenneth Noonan, Commanding Officer 121st Precinct Deputy Inspector Matthew Harrington, Adjutant Patrol Borough Staten Island Inspector Robert Brower, Executive Officer Patrol Borough Staten Island Deputy Chief Donna Jones, Staten Island Borough President the Honorable James Otto, Staten Island District Attorney, the Honorable Michael McMahon, Assemblywoman Nicole Maliutakis, Assemblyman Ron Castorina, Director Operations Senator Andrew Lanza, Bill Matarasso, and retired New York City Police Officer Daniel Rodriguez. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our dais. I would like to thank them for being here with us this morning. And I'd like to introduce one of our local Staten Island community leaders, Mr. Bob Cutrona.
Good morning. To those of you who have lost a son, a daughter, a wife, a husband, a brother or a sister, a mom or a dad, we feel your pain and your grieving. All of us here and the rest of the Staten Island community owe you so much. It's a debt that we could never repay. We cannot bring them back, but we will never forget them. Our commitment, our promise is to remember the fallen officers. That will not end today when we leave here. We plan to continue this memorial going forward every year to keep their memories alive and to give the Staten Island community an opportunity to honor them and thank them for the ultimate sacrifice that they made. As I said previously, we will always be indebted to them. God bless all of those who have fallen, and God bless all of you here today. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce another one of my colleagues and a friend, Sal Sottile.
I want to thank everyone, especially for being here today. This is a privilege for me and my partners, Jerry Amerosi, Bob Cutrona, and Marlene Markoe-Boyd. Each year we do this, we take away something special, a special memory, a special time in our heart. And I want to tell all of you that while it means much to the families, it means so much to us also. I want to thank everybody for getting up extra early today and being a part of this, because for these families, there is no closure. The grief is if tragedy happened yesterday. But us being here allows them the support and the comfort of knowing that we care, that it means something. We see the names on those boards, we know who they were. We know what they did, they were New York City police officers, and we know why they died, to protect each one of us. Where do you find the kind of courage of these families that they come before us to share their grief all over again? And when I look down on all of us, and we say that to many, they refer to Staten Island as the forgotten borough. And by the looks of all the wonderful people here today, I could say we could put that belief to rest. This is a borough much different than any other borough, as Monsignor said. And to the families here today, we give our pledge that we will never forget, never take for granted their sacrifice and yours. Each of you will always hold a prominent place of honor in our hearts. And one day, we will have a memorial in place of tribute, a place of permanent reflection, where we could all sit in front of a bench and relax and think about your loved ones, because they're our loved ones too. We have so much to be grateful here on Staten Island. If Staten Island was its own city with a population of over 100,000 people, it would be the safest city in America. That's clearly not by accident. It's because of the people you see to my left and to my right, and the people on patrol every day. We're fortunate here on Staten Island to have excellent leadership from Chief Delator, Donna Jones, Inspector Delahanty, and on down. The finest precinct commanders, community affairs, auto crime, crime prevention, detective squads, gang, domestic, school safety, highway, ESU. It goes on and on. It's not a simple plan to take care of all of us. And so we assembled today to share our grief and remember the lives lost, and to offer our thanks to all who are serving us today. To be a police officer today is very challenging. There's much expected of you. You're placed in situations with those who are desperate, highly unstable, mentally unbalanced, and those who have nothing to lose. And in many circles, you undergo unfair criticism, immense scrutiny, and often have to absorb the wrath of unpopular public displays. But I will say this, not here, not now, not ever on Staten Island. Where do you go to find such courageous people that put on a uniform or go undercover, placing themselves in danger to protect each of us and our families? And I will tell you this, here on Staten Island, we understand the significance of appreciation, recognize the dedication, and of course, the meaning of sacrifice. And so today, we acknowledge the very best police department in the world, in the very best borough, and the greatest of families right here before us. And they deserve it. I'd also like to thank our sponsors and our contributors, because so many people became a part of this event. This is our third one, and so many people came forward. I especially want to thank Lieutenant Awad, who's done such a great job in helping us here. Lieutenant, where are you? Behind me, in front of me? Lieutenant Awad has done a great job. Detective Danielle Douglas and Detective Mary Kelly. Everything we ask, they deserve it. Community Affairs here on Staten Island. Jose and Michael also from the 121. And Matt Harrington, Inspector Matt Harrington, who's done so much to make this happen. It was actually Matt's idea to have it here and not at the mall. So again, we're indebted to everything that you guys have done and to be a part of this. I would also like to thank my co-chairs, Jerry Amerosi, Bob Cutrona, and Marlene Markoe-Boyd. We spend a lot of time on this, and every second is so worth it. I'd also like to thank our supporters, Barrios, who provided the food, Buds and Blooms, who provided the flowers, Everything Entertainment, the chairs and the tables, Fine Art Photos and Videos, Flint is here, Partners in Sound, Pro Show. Bear with me because it's a long list, but these are the people that you need to know. The Rocco Laurie Scholarship, where Larry Ambrosino is here. The Blue Knights, Costco, GSA Signs, Blue Lives Matter, the Blue Ribbon Gals with Carmen, and everyone who actually took place in this. I also like to mention Roger Marin, who's doing the Winter Wonderland at the ballpark. We're going to have a place to go here during the winter, from November to December. It's going to be an alpine village right on the ballpark field on Staten Island. It's the first of its kind, and Roger Marin is going to be the one who's going to orchestrate it. It's a multi-million-dollar project, and it's going to be safe because we're right across the street from the 120, and my company will be doing the security now. So we're okay. So that's Roger Marin. And also my Bay Street Landing contingent is here. Kenny and Chris Campbell from Bay Street Landing from the South Shore, from the North Shore, came all the way out here also to be a part of this. I'd also like to thank Nancy Roden. Couldn't be here today, but gave her thanks. Nancy orchestrates and coordinates the Russell Timoshenko Memorial that happens every year at South Beach. It's a tremendous event. I go. It's where I first met Tatiana. And she told me back then, years ago, and it stood with me, and this is part of my reason for being involved, is she said, Sal, I never want Russell to be forgotten. And I will tell you this, Tatiana, he is never forgotten, not here. "23 years old, an only child. That kind of grief is insurmountable and unthinkable." And that's Russell Timoshenko. And each of you have your own suffering and your own story and your own grief that you share. But we are here for you. We are here to make it better if there's such a thing. And we are here to show you our love and the love of Staten Island. With that, I'd like to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, folks.
And thank you, Mr. Sottile. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Executive Officer of Patrol Bureau Staten Island, Deputy Chief Donna Jones.
Good morning. On behalf of the Police Commissioner, James P. O'Neill, the Staten Island Borough Commander, Edward Delatorre, myself, and the other executives in the borough, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, thank the community, especially the organizers of this remembrance ceremony, Jerry Amerosi, Bob Cutrona, Marlene Markoe-Boyd, and Sal Sottile. As police officers, we have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the state of New York. Sometimes that oath causes us to come into harm's way and ultimately making this higher sacrifice. But when community members on their own decide to remember those that have made the ultimate sacrifice, it makes us prouder, if such a thing is possible, to be members of the best police department in the world and to protect. And to protect the best city in the world, which naturally brings us to the best borough in the world. Today, we read off the names of 27 police officers. Each one of these officers had a special connection to Staten Island, and as is evident today on Staten Island will never forget them. So thank you again, Jerry, Bob, Marlene, and Sal. The families here today appreciate their loved ones are still remembered by the community. Ceremonies such as these also serve to improve the morale of police officers because it reminds us that our hard work does not go unnoticed and is appreciated. It's even celebrated by the community. I used to tell new officers that nobody calls the police when they're having a party. They only call us when things get out of hand. But I can no longer say that because today is a celebration for us. It's support for us and it's appreciation of us. To the families, remember that it is not only the NYPD that will never forget your loved ones, but the communities like the ones they serve. Please take solace in the fact that your loved one is a hero that will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Please welcome the commanding officer of the 121st Precinct, Deputy Inspector Matthew Harrington.
All right. Thank you again for coming out today. I'd like to also thank Jerry Amerosi, Sal Sottile, Bob Cutrona, and Marlene Markoe-Boyd putting this together. It's a great day for them. I appreciate them putting this together. Today is a day about reflection and gratitude. We look back and reflect on the lives of the fallen, and we thank God for them being part of our lives and your lives and the families, and we express our gratitude not only as a member of the NYPD, but as a member of the community of Staten Island. The community appreciates the fallen, and we'll never forget them. Just remember this to the family: your brothers in blue and your sisters in blue in the Staten Island community will always be there for you in times of need. So we will always be there for you. To the active men and women who are out there serving every day, they're leaving their families at home, not knowing if this will be their last, I appreciate everything you do, and the community appreciates everything you do. To the retired cops, I want to thank you for your service, years of service. Once a cop, always a cop. Because my cops know if they get into something and there's a cop, whether he's recently retired or he's in a walk, he's going to have your back. So I want to thank you guys. I want to express my gratitude to the families for coming out today. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Inspector. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Marlene Markoe-Boyd.
Good morning. As was announced before, we certainly have our elected officials here supporting us today, and we are very grateful to them. I'd like to just give them an opportunity to each say a few words. So first, please welcome Borough President James Otto.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. I want to start by saying that Monsignor Romano has to be one of the most wonderful human beings on this planet, because no one who has just paid the Verrazano Bridge toll should be that happy to be on Staten Island. A couple days ago, I went on my Twitter feed, because that's what we do these days, and I saw that our colleague, Councilman Joe Borelli, was taking to task, and rightfully so, the commentator Ann Coulter. Ms. Coulter made a derisive comment about the NYPD in relationship to the police and how they handle the terrorist situation in London. Now, Ms. Coulter makes those type of inflammatory statements for a living. It helps sell books. I don't know what she believes or what she doesn't believe. And some have argued that she was talking about the leadership of the NYPD, not the rank and file. Either way, it was an insulting comment. It was a dopey comment. But her timing was perfect, because it affirms why we are here today. And those of us out there in leadership positions have the responsibility to remind Staten Island and remind New York City and remind the world how difficult of a job it is to be a New York City police officer today in 2017, even more difficult than in previous times. We have to remind Staten Island and New York City and the world that sometimes police officers make the ultimate sacrifice, and sometimes families are left with a gaping hole in their lives for the rest of their lives. I've been in this job, public service, for 25 years. I've been elected for 18 years. I've been around great police officers, great borough commanders. I saw Al Giramonti, my old friend. Lots of great precinct commanders. My brother was a member of the NYPD, so I've been around the department. I never had a greater appreciation for the job than a year or so ago, after walking out of the 122, after Chief Delatorre invited me to the local CompStat, where Bobby Bacchino and Terry Herson were grilled by local leadership about crimes and about what their teams are doing. And to see the cops on Staten Island have worked to such detail that they know the cousin of the perp at this crime is related to the boyfriend of the perp at that crime, that's the depth that these New York City police officers go into, and how hard they work, and how deeply they are ingrained in the community to make it safe for all of us. And every step along the way, they put themselves on the line. And the families know that sometimes it is the ultimate sacrifice. So please know that you have our respect. Please know that you have our appreciation. Please know that you have our love. If you've worn the uniform, if you wear it today, or you are the family member of one who've lost, we will always be there for you. And if there's anything that we can do at Borough Hall, please just reach out. Stay safe, and God bless.
Next up, we certainly like to welcome District Attorney McMahon.
Thank you, Marlene, and I know I speak for all of us elected officials when we thank you and Jerry and Bob and Sal for putting this great event together for the third year and calling us together to do something both appropriate and noble as we join together with these incredible families who've sacrificed so much so that our city can remain to be safe and strong. And of course we thank Inspector Harrington for inviting us to his home here, and to all the men and women who turn out of this precinct every day and the other 3 precincts on Staten Island to keep Staten Island safe. I have, without doubt, I know it now, the best job in America, because I work with some of the most dedicated attorneys as prosecutors in our office, and every day we partner with the men and women of the New York Police Department. And so I can see early in the morning a new patrolman or a new patrolwoman coming into our complaint room to draw up their first complaint from their first arrest, and see their pride and their eagerness and their fulfillment, and that after their long studies in the academy and coming out and putting on that uniform, how proud they are in the work that they are doing. And we see the detectives who go out every day, sometimes undercover, sometimes risking their lives, as we know, to get guns off the streets, to get drugs off the streets, to protect women and children who are being battered and abused, and who work together with the great community affairs people to strengthen the community of Staten Island. And so I love this job, and I'm thankful for all of you for allowing me to do it, to be the Chief Law Enforcement Officer on Staten Island. As I prepared to come here today, I tried to find some sort of pithy words or comments, because I knew I'd follow Jim Otto, and it's never easy to do because his words are always so appropriate. And what kept coming to mind was a passage from the good book. Bishop, is okay if I preach a little bit? All right. Monsignor, it's okay? Monsignor's like, I don't know. He's a smart man. You know what, Monsignor? If you let me do it, on the way back, the toll will be free, thanks to me. Mention my name. But in the book of Psalms it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Imagine what it is to be called a child of God. And who are the peacemakers? They are our peace officers, our police officers, the men and women who go out every day to keep the peace, protect the peace, to keep us from evil, to keep us from harm. And so I join with all of you here today to say, God bless the men and women of the New York Police Department, both serving, active, and retired. And most importantly, God bless you all, the families of the fallen. Please know that we will always be at your side, and anything that we can do in our office, please let me know. God bless you all.
Let's welcome Nicole, Assemblywoman Nicole Maliotakis.
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Sal, Jerry, Bob, for hosting us today at this beautiful ceremony to honor those that we've lost and made the ultimate sacrifice. I'm here because, like my colleagues who stand next to me, we understand that leadership comes from the top, and that leaders, especially those here in the city of New York, must support, must respect, must show appreciation that the NYPD deserves. And I think that's a very important thing, especially when we see some of the activities that happen throughout the city. It's so important that we join together for events like this to remember the individuals who did give their life, put their life on the line, and those that continue to put their lives on the line each and every day. About a couple of months ago, there was a protest in front of my home, and the NYPD, as always, did a wonderful job in containing it. But following the event, there were some comments on Facebook saying, "I knew we were in enemy territory because of all the blue ribbons that we saw." You know what? We should be so proud of those individuals who display the blue ribbons across Staten Island. I would bet that Staten Island probably has more blue ribbons supporting police officers than any other community across our nation. And that is something, as Staten Islanders, as New Yorkers, and Americans, we should always be proud of and continue to display, because our officers, including Police Officer Dal Shviv, who sits in a hospital, lies in a hospital, continuing to fight for his life in critical condition. We pray for him. We thank his family for allowing him to serve and give, hopefully not his life. We're going to pray, right, Monsignor? We're going to make our Reverend Victor Brown, Bishop Brown. We need to make all prayers tonight to ensure that he comes out of this well, and we pray, keep his family, of course, his 2-year-old daughter, who is also, obviously, the family is devastated. So thank you so much for being here. To the families. There's nothing we can say. Nothing we can say to make your pain go away. Nothing we can do to actually comprehend what you've been through. But just know that we're here for you. We appreciate all the sacrifices, including being here today, because that has to be extremely difficult to relive this each and every day, especially at ceremonies like this. God bless all our police officers, and thank you for what you do each and every day.
Thank you. Titles don't matter to me, to be very frank with you. I'm not here today just as an assemblyman, but I'm here today as a son of a first responder. And cops, firemen, paramedics, what you do each and every day, putting your lives on the line, is an expression of love. It's an expression of love for your family, for your community, and being here today with you all is an expression of love. I'll tell you a quick story. Growing up, my father retired from the fire department, but many years back he was a paramedic when I was a little kid. And he'd work nights, and he'd come home very, 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 very late or very, very early in the morning. And he'd go into, on occasion, each one of our bedrooms, me and my brothers and my sister, and he'd open the door, he'd come in, and he would give us a kiss on the forehead. And he would go about his business, go to bed. And many years later, as I got older and after my father retired in 2002, I said, Dad, thinking back, all those times you would come into our bedrooms and give us a kiss on the forehead when you got home from work, why did you do that? And he said, you know what? He goes, those were the nights when I was out in the field and I saw something so tragic, so painful, maybe affecting a kid. Maybe it reminded me of you or your sister. And for me, I just wanted to see you. I wanted to validate that you were there and kiss you and express my love. And I know that each one of you and family members, those who have lost and those who are currently serving, probably have similar experience. And that's what's so poignant about this ceremony and why I'm so humbled to be here, and I will come every year. So I don't want to talk too long. I know it's warm, but I do want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Would Bill Matarazzo please come up representing Senator Lanza?
Thank you. Thank you. It's certainly an honor to be here to represent Senator Lanza, who sends his love and his understanding. The senator's dad was on the job for many years, so he truly understood what it was like to be a family member of a police officer, and he talks of it often. And I just wanted to reach out personally to say that it's been an honor for me to meet many of the families and many of those that serve our community on this job. It's one of the greatest pleasures I have to assist them in their job. I stand in awe of them. I thank you for letting me be a part of this ceremony, and our office is available to you for any reason whatsoever, always. So don't hesitate to reach out. We're there for you. God bless each and every one of you, and thank you for being here.
Last but certainly not least, Assemblyman Michael Cusick.
Thank you, Marlene. I want to thank Marlene, Jerry, Sal, and Bob, and the organization for putting this together. I want to thank our members of our NYPD for what you do every day. We've heard it many times, and there's no doubt in any of our minds that the NYPD is the greatest police force on the face of this earth. But we see it firsthand as elected officials. You're not only law enforcement. When you put on that uniform, you're a member of this community. You are a counselor at times. You have to be a terrorism expert at times. And at times, particularly now that we're having here in Staten Island, you have to be a lifesaver when it comes to the opioid and heroin addiction here in Staten Island. There are so many other ways that we count on you to protect our families. And as my colleague said, I don't know how we can ever thank you for that sacrifice. But whatever we can do as elected officials, we will do that to make sure that your job is easier and safer. And that we are grateful. Grateful not only as elected officials, but grateful as fellow Staten Islanders that you took the sacrifice to protect our families. And that's very important to state. And to the families that are here too. My grandfather was a police officer. And I never realized until I was an adult and he passed away. But I remember back at family occasions, whenever he would start talking about his stories on the job, my grandmother always got up and went to the other room. I realized as I got older why that was. It wasn't easy for her. It wasn't easy for her family. She was very proud of my grandfather. We all were. But it wasn't easy. It was a sacrifice on the family. So I want to thank you, the families of our NYPD, because you make a great sacrifice in allowing your loved one to do the job that they love to do, because it was public service and it was in their blood to serve the people of the city of New York. So I thank you so much. God bless you. God bless our NYPD.
Before we start reading the family names, courtesy of the NYPD's Aviation Unit, there will now be a flyover honoring those who made the ultimate sacrifice. At this point in the program, we will start truly the really special part of it, and this is always about the families. We shall begin the most solemn part of the ceremony, where we're taking a moment to honor those who made the biggest sacrifice among us. Police Officer John Kennedy. Police Officer John Wilson. Represented by a great nephew, Terrence McCarthy, Police Officer Joseph McBreen. Police Officer Norman Dixon. Police Officer Matthew McCormick. Police Officer Edward Monzillo. Police Officer Arthur Pello. Police Officer Joseph Garcia. Police Officer Robert Seaton Harris. Police Officer Francis LaSala. Police Officer Erwin Rutman. Housing Police Officer Gerard Carter. Police Officer, excuse me one second. Sorry, Detective James Nemerin. Represented by family, Mother Tatiana, as well as other family members, Detective Russell Timoshenko. Represented by his wife, Maritza, Detective Rafael Ramos. Rafael Ramos, Detective Ramos, and the next officer I'm going to recognize are not listed on the poster. These things happen. Certainly it's no disrespect to the family, but I'd like to then once again acknowledge Detective Ramos and Police Officer Emmett Cassidy. At this point, we will start calling up those who will be speaking on behalf of their family. We have Mr. Larry Ambrosino, who will be speaking for the family of two officers, Police Officer Rocco Laurie and Police Officer Henry Wahlberger.
First, I want to thank Marlene and Sal, Bob, Jerry. This is a wonderful thing. And I'm dressed appropriately for a 90-degree day, by the way. I wore a shirt and tie for 40 years. I'm done, okay? But I do want to say, Democrats, Republicans, do you notice none of them had a prepared speech? They all spoke from the heart. And that's what Staten Island's all about. These guys really are there for us. And I'm proud to be a Staten Islander. And I've even voted for a couple of Republicans, I'll tell you.
You can have a confession with my seat.
Confession. Well, Victor Brown already blessed me before. I just want to say, yesterday we honored this year's Rocco Laurie Scholarship winners. And every year we give a scholarship to two outstanding students, boy and a girl. And the winner this year was Emily Harrington. Are you related? The fix was not in. I had no idea. But it's a wonderful thing that the young boy is really from Nigeria. And he was #1 in the International Baccalaureate program at Curtis. And Rocco and I, we never did that. But Rocco Laurie and I went to junior high school with this young man over here, Ricky Seaman. Where'd you go, Ricky? He's a member of our committee. We all went to Markham together. When Rocco made Eastern State champ in the shot put at Port Richmond, he got a scholarship to Iona. 16 years old, he was a freshman in college. He stayed there 2 years, became a police trainee, turned down his deferment, and went to Vietnam as a Marine. He came back and was serving the Lower East Side with Gregory Force on January 27, 1972, when they were assassinated from behind by the Black Liberation Army. Rocco took 7 bullets, lived a few hours, and he died. And I was teaching at Markham at the time where Rocco and I went. I said, we have to do something for the widows, and we can't let Rocco's name die. So we started the Patrolman Rocco Laurie Scholarship Fund 45 years ago. And we just had our 46th basketball game. We also have a triathlon every summer, and Inspector Brower, who I had in school, yes, I was only 10 years old when I started teaching, right? Helps us every year. The police department's fantastic. People come from all over the city in Jersey, and we raise a lot of money. The Rocco Laurie Fund, we're never going to let Rocco's name die as long as I can breathe. We have a school named the Police Officer Rocco Laurie Intermediate School 72. And yeah, right? Your kids went there. I mean, you're right. So We've given out over $200,000, as I said, and we're still going strong. As a matter of fact, Rocco's name is now international. We bought a team of oxen for a little village in Uganda so that they can farm the land and rent the oxen to other villages and make money. And they named one of the oxen Rocco and one of them Larry, so no comments. All right? And we sent over some Rocco Laurie shirts. So you see these little kids in Uganda wearing Rocco Laurie shirts, and now we're going to start a scholarship over there to help them. So Rocco's name is not only never going to be forgotten here, but it'll be remembered there. Now, I have the double honor. Henry Wahlberger called me before, and he and his brother Scott drove me absolutely crazy when I had them in school. And I didn't realize that their dad had gotten killed in the 9th Precinct a couple of years before Rocco, actually, responding to a burglary, and he got killed. And I had Henry and his brother and his sister in school. Well, Henry and Scott ended up retired police officers, and now their son, Henry Wahlberger Sr.'s grandson, is now is a police officer. So they've really carried on the tradition of public service and giving of their lives. So I just want to say that we can never forget. I look at so many names on that board. Your husband, I've had you in school. I'm really old, thank God. But we look at names on that board. Don't ever forget those people. Don't ever forget them. And Jimmy Leahy, I was pleased to have him as a student. And when he died in 9/11, I called Markham up. I said, you know, the only police officer killed from Staten Island in 9/11 was a student at Markham. And he went, huh? So now we have the Jim Leahy Award at Markham. We have the Jim Leahy Award at PS 44. And now we got to get a playground named after him. You guys listening? You guys listening? The playground PS 44 should be the James Leahy playground, right? This guy will get it done. This guy. So I want to thank you, Mrs. Leahy. Thank you so much, and your family, and all of you. This is a wonderful thing coming here today. So don't ever let these guys be forgotten. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call up the family of Police Officer Robert Manzione.
It was a tremendous honor to be granted permission to wear my uncle's badge for 21 years with the police department. Not only was he a hero to me, my godfather, but in a lot of ways, whether it's patrol, routine foot post, I always felt like I had that extra partner with me, watching over me, a guardian angel, to protect me on my tour. I want to say God bless all our heroes in heaven. They'll never be forgotten. And all our heroes here. And thank you for everything. Thank you.
I'd like to call up Jimmy Reyes, the partner of Police Officer Luis Lopez.
Good morning, everyone. Sal, Marlene, Jerry, and Bob, great job. Keep up the good work. To the greatest department. There's not one more that can be said that you're here on a Saturday remembering our loved ones. On behalf of the Lopez family, Louis, Tina, and Nellie, Louis followed his dad into the job. To Aldeas also, our elected officials, thank you very much. March 10th, 1993 is embedded in my head. It just won't leave me. There doesn't go a day where things are struggling. I see that smile and his sarcasm, and it gets us through. Here we are, you know, again, to our other family members. I understand the pain doesn't go away. They're always there. And when we say that the job never forgets, just look at a prime example of what's happening today. And I can't go without forgetting that Mike McLaughlin, retired now, Detective Mike McLaughlin, was the detective that took the confession for Louis' killer. And he's here today. So, Mike, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call up the family of Detective Kenny Fung.
Good morning, everyone. As it was said numerous times, thank you, Sal, Jerry, Bobby, and Maureen. Thank you for having us here today. Thank you to the elected officials that are here, and of course my colleagues here to my right side. My father was assigned to the 7-2 Precinct in 1997 when he was the lead investigator to a homicide. And that investigation brought him to Puerto Rico in search for the 2 perpetrators that were wanted in connection of the homicide. While in Puerto Rico, he had a massive heart attack and passed away. He was a good man. I know a lot of people here, the retired guys knew of him or worked with him. I just want to say thank you again for having us, to remember us, and as well as the other family members that are here today. And I proudly wear his shield today, and I hope I just made him proud of me.
I'd like to read the names of 2 officers, some family members being here, some not, but have chosen not to say a few words as of this moment. The police officers are Police Officer Thomas Shimenti, the wife present with her 2 sons. Let's please remember Police Officer John Kelly. I'd like to call up the family now of Police Officer Matthew Drzgowski.
I'd just like to thank everyone today on behalf of my husband, Matthew. He was a native Staten Islander, and he loved the borough, and he loved the NYPD, and I would just like to thank everyone on behalf of him.
At this moment, I'd like to call up the family of Police Officer James Leahy.
I want to thank everyone here today, especially the fellas in the back. And like Larry said, Jimmy was one of the first responders at 9/11. And he was the only New York City police officer who lived on Staten Island but worked in Manhattan in the 6th Precinct. The day of 9/11 was a tragic day for everyone, when so many of our loved ones got murdered. Not only got killed, but they were murdered in cold blood. And that's what we should never forget, what these terrorists did that day. He ran in while everyone else was running out. He even had a chance to call and tell his sons, "I'll see you later." But unfortunately, when they did a roll call at night, he was the only one from the 6th Precinct who didn't return. So, in all, I want to thank the NYPD for always standing by us and always remembering September 11th for us. Thank you very much, everyone.
Right now, I'd like to call up the son of, his name is Corey, the son of Detective William Titus.
Hey everyone, thank you for coming. My father was Detective William Titus out of Brooklyn North Narcotics. He passed away in 2003 from cancer from his efforts at 9/11. One thing when people always ask me about that day, it's crazy what happened. I always say that everyone went to do their job that day, and I don't think anyone second guessed that. Just that worst thing that could happen happened. I know to my brothers in blue, I'm a paramedic with the fire department. I know I always have your guys' back. I know you have mine. So everyone stay safe out there.
Let's please remember, as our last fallen officer today, Detective Rodney Andrews. Now I'd like to bring up very well-known, very talented, and very faithful as a former New York City police officer, Daniel Rodriguez, who will do a musical performance for us as we start closing.
In my many moments of grief, this song has given me comfort. Who can say for certain? Maybe you're still here. I feel you all around me. Your memory so clear. Deep in the stillness, I can hear you speak. You're still an inspiration. Can it be?
much, Daniel. And now we're going to have a final moment of silence for all those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Please remain standing for the benediction by Bishop Brown.
Our organizers who thought it not robbery to call us together this morning. To our elected officials who continue to provide stellar leadership to this borough. To C.O. Harrington, who has rolled out the carpet of hospitality for us this morning. Keep him and his family in your prayers. His father was just eulogized last week. I want you to also keep Detective Windsor in your prayers. He's out of the 77th Precinct last week, Saturday. His son Ian was murdered. Later this afternoon, I will be at Ian's wake, 27 years old, whose life was tragically snuffed out. Let us keep Officer Dalsvidi in your prayers as he's clinging to life. We believe that God is God over life and that his healing virtue will be with him, and certainly for each and every member of the NYPD who continues to serve this city with fastidious service. Let us be in prayer. Shall we pray? Gracious and loving God, for the gift of life, we say thank you. For this occasion for which we have been summoned, we say thank you. We ask, Heavenly Father, that you would bless those members of the NYPD who were tragically taken from us while in the line of duty. We ask your continued blessings upon their respective families. And God, we ask your blessings upon each and every member who presently serves with distinction and with a commitment to serve in a major way. We ask, God, that you would continue to remind us of the gift that memory is. For the set of memory that it permits us to smell roses in the dead of winter. And so as long as we have memories, then our loved ones will never be forgotten. And so we ask that you would continue to bless us in this day, and in the days ahead is our prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop. As we come to the conclusion of the ceremony, I would ask that you please join us in the singing of God Bless America, which will be led by Officer Lopez.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
time, I'd like to introduce Jerry Amerosi for some closing remarks.
Hello, everybody. I just want to say to all the families, very sorry. We will continue to do this as the third year as community members. We love bringing you guys here and showing you our support. As being a person that lives here, and my children live here, Staten Island respects you, we love you. And if there's anything we can ever do for you, please come and see us. There's great men on both sides, we have great ladies on both sides, and great people here. We love you, and we're very sorry, and go home safely. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Amerosi. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude that ceremony. I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And what I'd like to request at this time is to have the color guard fall over to the upper level, the executives on this side, members of the dais on this level, and then family members, once they're set up, I would like to have you on this side, as many as possible.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam.